Hey BBD fam, I want to discuss a little bit about my limiting belief on wanting more being a sin, and really it goes it starts as a child, but really the where I get stuck is the fact that in high school I ballooned up. I gained a ton of weight. And from there, throughout my entire adult life, I was obese. And it wasn't until October 30th in San Francisco when I took a trip um, to Unite conference. It's a game development conference, and um, for Unity. It's a game. It's a engine where people make games, and I went there, and I would go straight from the hotel to the conference, not wasting any time. Um, because why I'm not exactly sure why I would tell myself I didn't have any time, and then it was on the very last day when I was talking to just one of the members on the conference, and they were talking about things to do, and we were having a good time, and they mentioned Lombard Street, and I remember every day walking from my hotel to the conference on the wharf. I forget what it was called, but I would remember Lombard Street, and they mentioned that it was a historic thing, and I would not do uh, what I really wanted. You know, just be curious and see things. And Lombard Street was a landmark. This is what's hitting home for me. He said that it was a landmark, and I realized that every single day, I would. I, I would walk by, I would read things, and I would be curious, but I wouldn't take action. And I never went up Lombard Street. And I made a promise to myself that I'll go up Lombard Street to see what it was about. And it was a challenge. Walking up, I mean, I was massive at the time. I was I'm not even sure if I was able to weigh myself. I was so big. I had my laptop in my rolling bag, and I walked up slowly Lombard Street, and I told myself I wasn't going to stop. So I went up to the top, and I realized that I had enough time. I had more than enough time. If I took the time I needed, I was uncomfortable. And that's really why I didn't do it, because I was going to be uncomfortable doing a change, and I walked up. I saw rail car halfway up. I mean, this thing was it was a challenge. I felt like I was climbing a vertical slope, and I went up. This wasn't the part of Lombard Street, the beautiful part where it's all twisty and turny. This is kind of a driving road where main traffic is. So I was going up, and I was absolutely drenched. And I made it to the top. I said, "Oh wow, this was a challenge." And then I saw the other side. This is the part that everyone was going gaga over. So I went down. I said, "That was nice," but I I loved that challenge of getting up to the top, and I realized that I would tell myself so many things. I would convince myself that I don't want this or that because um, uh, I don't have time. Yeah, I use time as an excuse. So at that point, I realized that it was the avoidance of um, I think I'm answering my own question here. At that point, I think it was. I was using time as an excuse not to do anything, but in reality, I was just uncomfortable of change. Um, So I went ahead and I did. I'll tell the story. I went ahead and I did that. I went up and I felt amazing. I was drenched head to toe, and I came back down, and then I went to my hotel, and then I had to fly out either uh, that night or the next morning. And I said, there are other things that I wanted to do, and I wanted to look up. I wanted to go have some ramen food, some actual ramen. This is something I've been wanting in the back of my head, and I said, you know what? Let me see if I can do this. So I looked up, I found a place, and I walked all the way there again. I was trying to get a taxi. No one wanted to pick up this massive guy on Halloween Eve. And I don't know why I couldn't get a taxi, but I didn't want to wait, so I walked. So I walked from my hotel there. It was about a 4 mile walk, and I was even more drenched, so many more hills. And I get to the ramen place. I kind of open up the door, head to toe soaked. This huge guy. I want some ramen, and everyone was like, "Whoa, okay, here you go, have some ramen." I enjoyed the ramen, and I had a good time, and I went back. But from then on, I realized that I was taking. Um, uh, it led me to realize that I was eating too much. I was um, eating beyond fulfillment, and that was sinful. That was not good, not healthy to me. So part of my realization of making the change, of making the change from being more aware and healthy, was to realize that there is a limit. Not to eat past your satiation point, and to realize when you've had enough. So I have a limiting. This is part of my limiting belief that, hey, um, uh, of wanting more is wrong. There should be a point where you've had enough, and you can tell yourself to stop. And I think this is where I limit myself from going after more and trying to get more of whatever, more pleasure. Um, while I was talking, I came to the realization that it's not the idea of wanting more um, as being an issue. It's it's wanting more and not realizing the pain, ignoring the signals, not being present. That is wrong. Um, well, at least for me, that is wrong, and um, uh, avoiding discomfort, being afraid, uh, and not taking action because you're being afraid. That's uh, that's that's wrong. So to not take action because you're afraid, that's um, that's not what you should do. So that's exactly what I was doing up the hill. I didn't take action going up the hill, fulfilling my curiosity, because I was afraid, and that was wrong. So, yeah, thanks. I thought this was a good exercise to do. I'll share it with the group, and if this helps anybody, awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.